Okay, so we should have something like this that was sent to us, the file. So the assignment, we asked to load all the data, right, in our Power BI. So we know what to do. You can just come here to get data. There are a number of ways you can do that by now, you should know. So you just click on Excel, then you locate it in your file. I have it here, Adventure. What's going on? What's going on? Okay, what's happening? Excel workbook. Oh, not workbook. CSV, yeah, CSV files. So just click on it and we have all of them. So you probably realize that you cannot load more than one at a time. I'm sure we all know that. So, and we said alternatively, the best thing to do is to probably load all of these things with the folder. If I think I gave an example during the class. So if we want to load, if we want to like make our data update whenever we are working on it, so we can always use the folder option. So, but now let me just I think we have it loaded in one of the files. So let me just look for it rather than having to upload everything one. I think we have this. Hold on a second, please. AdventureWorks. I think this is our class. This was last week. So let me just open this. Okay, it's coming up. So if you have any question along the line, please let me know. I mean, from the previous classes, please just let me know.
Sorry, I just want to find out how are you able to import that Power BI document into your query, Power Query? Because like, yeah, because like my assignments that I've done and submitted. If I want to like view the tables on again, am I able to import it?
To go back to Power Query, right?
Yes.
The query editor.
Yes.
Okay, so you can just come to either the table or either the table or the model view. So just come here. If it's this one you want to play with, you can just right click here and you see edit query. Then you should have it come back.
Okay, I got it.
Right?
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Oh God, I think this is the wrong one. Okay, let me just skip it. So let me load everything now. We have let's load calendar. So we have to load everything and create new queries to connect. Okay, not everything, just 3 of them. Not everything, just 3 of them. So the first one is the product category. This one, I think we have it here already. This is it. Then the second one is the category and subcategory. So let us bring those in. So we have these product categories. This is it here. We can always transform our data to see what is inside of it. We all know it by now. So there is not much here. So we can just click close and apply. And we would have it here in our model view, and you can see it here. This is it, product, right? Product category. Now we need to bring in our subcategory. That's what we have. This is subcategory. And once we have it, this is it here. We can also transform data. I stated that you need to make modifications by renaming them. I'm sure you remember you can always rename here. And I said we should rename those things. We should rename them product subcategories, subcategory lookup. Yeah, that's the name. So you can always do that here in case. So you close and apply. We did not do for this, so let me quickly go back to do it. This is for the product. All these things we've done before, so that's why I'm a bit fast. So you should know them by now. So this is the product lookup, product category lookup. So you can just edit it here. Okay. So now what were you asked to do? We're asked to, in our product lookup query. So this is our product lookup query. Where is it? This is it. Product lookup query. This is category. This is subcategory. This is product lookup. So we're asked to do some things inside of the query. So let's open our Power Query. We are here again in Power Query. I'm sure we all see this, right? I'm sure we all see this, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so I'm sure you are probably noticing this, right? I'm sure this was not there before, right? I mean, in previous classes that we had. So this is just a kind of an overview of what each column looks like. I'm going to show you how you can bring it on and off. So you can see now that it's telling us that in this column, 100% of the entries here are valid, and that there is no error, 0% error, and that 0% empty. So this is very useful when you want to do data cleaning, because most of this data that we are using here, they are clean data. So we didn't have to go through any data cleaning process. But of course, one of the data cleaning process that you would have to go to as an analyst is probably removing empty rows, like removing errors, finding and removing errors and all of that. So in Power BI, this is a very useful tool for that. So it just gives you a summary of what each of your column looks like. You understand? So very important. So you can always turn it on or off. If you come to view, you will see column quality. So if you just toggle this on or off, you would have it on or off. Is that okay? So the last time it was off, that's why most of us did not see it. But now if I turn it on, we can see it. But we don't need it, so we can just leave it for now. So our assignment state that maybe someone should read the assignment for us so I can know that everyone is being carried along. So okay, let's start with you. So what is the number 2 of the assignment? You have the assignment with you, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so what is the number 2? What did they ask us to do?
It says make the following modifications to product lookup query. Add a calculated column that extracts all characters before the dash, before the hyphen in the product SKU column, named
Okay.
SKU. Yeah.
Okay, so it said we should add a calculated column that extracts all the characters before the dash in the product SKU column. So this is the product SKU column. So what we are asked to do is we want to extract all the characters that comes before this first dash. Of course, we have 2 dashes here, but of the one that comes before this dash. So that means after extraction, we are going to have HL, HL, SO, SO, HL, CA, and so on and so forth.
Hello,
right?
hello. Hi. Sorry,
yeah.
that was the problem I had understanding that question, because I was trying to navigate between the 2 dashes, because you didn't specify if it was the first dash or the second dash.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I just saw.
I had a lot of problem, like wrapping my head
then
around.
You should have asked on the group. And I would have probably detected it immediately.
Yeah,
I'm sorry about that. So we just need to extract from the first one, So what do we need to do? So tell us, what did you do? Or how do we go about this? Let's make it interactive.
So I just went with the first one that we did the last time. So I guess I did the before delimiter. Let me see.
How do I do that? Tell me. What do I do? Where do I go to?
Sorry, let me go to my data and see.
You can't show us from the screen.
Okay, let me maximize my screen. Just 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay, so I go to add column.
Add column. Why are we adding column?
Because we are going to move the new data to a new column.
A new column, okay. All right.
Then we go to extract.
Extract.
Text before delimiter.
Text before delimiter. And what is the
delimiter? Then the
hyphen. Hyphen, right?
Then
and we'll click on okay. So by the time we do this, we'll have it in our, this is the new column that we created, so HL and all of that. So of course we can always move this over if we need to the other side. So let me just move it so we can see them together side by side. Okay, all right. So alternatively, because one thing about these tools is for every problem or for everything you want to do, there are usually more than one way to do them. So alternatively, you can come here okay, and come to split colon by delimiter, you're also going to get the same thing, right? But this comes with some additional things, but it's still the same thing. So what is your delimiter here? Your delimiter here is it colon? No. Is it comma? No, it's not there. So you just choose custom, then you specify what dash. Then where are you splitting at? You're splitting at the left. You're starting from the left. Now, if you want to start from the right, you're going to see what will happen. So it's just going to be rightmost delimiter. So it's going to start from the right. So you're going to get R like that. You understand? So let me show you so you can see. I know I'm showing you for the first time, so it's just one of those things. So if you go there, you can see that it's starting from the, where is it? Where's this? Which one did I click, Seth? Why we have it? Is this the one? Let me remove this. Oh, it should be at the last edge, not this place. So let me do that again. Split column by delimiter. If I just start from the rightmost delimiter and I click OK, so I should have it here. If I go here now, it's not there. Come on. Oh, okay. It transformed, right? It transformed. Like it did not add new column. So it transformed that column. So, and that's why we cannot see what was there previously. Do you understand? It transformed the column. So we could not see what was there initially. So that's that. Okay. So we've done that. Then we're asked to update the SKU calculation above to return all characters before second dash instead of the first. Okay, I think that should have answered the question. So the first one was the first question was before the first dash, right? And this one is that all characters before second dash. So what we need here is let me cancel this. Okay, now what we need is we should have two characters here. What's going on? This one. So what we need from here now is we need U509. That's what we need. So we want between the first and the second. So of course we are going to do the same. Go to add colon, extract, and you can use text between delimiters. This time you want to go between dash and dash. So once you click on that, it will ask you for the first delimiter dash. The second one as well is dash, and you click on OK. By the time you have your result, you can see that you have everything between the two dashes. So that's that. That's pretty easy, man. So we are asked to replace 0 in the product style column. So if you check this product style column, where is the product style? This product style. So we have some zeros here. We have U, 0, 0, U. So we're asked to replace 0 with dash. So instead of this 0, we use dash. So that's pretty easy as well. So we just click on this column and you come where? Are you adding new column? No, I guess you are transforming. So if you check, you cannot see replace here because you cannot replace and to add a new column. So you can only find that under transform. Then you click on replace value and it asks you what value do you want to replace, 0, and what are you replacing with? I'm replacing with a dash, and that does it. So we can see that. Okay. So the next one is
Mr. Idris, the one before this question, you said update the SKU type calculation to return all characters before the second dash instead of the first, but you didn't say between. So if you're saying to return all characters all before the second, that means it includes
HL dash, right?
The first hyphen.
Okay.
You said you didn't say between. It's HL dash. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, then let's say we have to.
But that's how I understood the question. It said all characters. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So let's do that as well. So we know that we have 3 questions. So extract. Okay. What's it going to be? Is it before or after? It should be before.
Which one?
Is it after or before?
Oh, which one are we doing? Is this still the same one? My question, right?
Yes.
Okay, it's gonna be after.
It's before. We're using the second delimiter now, remember?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's still going to be text before delimiter, but you will come to advanced options, right? Okay. Do you remember I showed you this, right? So you can use different ways. So the delimiter you're removing is still dash, but now where are you starting from? I'm starting from end, from right or end. You can toggle this, right? If you want this method, if you are starting from here, then you need to change this, that it needs to skip one delimiter. So it's going to skip the first one and go to the second one, right? You get that? So, but if we want to use this end, then we don't need to use, then this one just has to be 0. So it's since it's be starting from the right. So you can use either of them, you get the same result. Exactly. So let me just go with this one and just have 1. So it skips the first one. And here we would have this, you can see. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. All right. So you're welcome. So let's go to the next one. Please, are others following? Did you understand the question and the answer? Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So we go to update the discount price calculation by 20% by multiplying the product price by value 0.5. This is pretty easy as well. So what we just want to do is this product price, we want to update it, right? By what? Adding the discount. So we want to multiply it by 20%. And what do? We go to transform. Is it transform or add column? What do we go?
Add
column. Now, if you check add column, we have multiply, right? Then we can go to, what are we multiplying?
It says we are getting a discount price. So we multiply the values in that column by 0.85.
0.85, yeah. So once we multiply it, it's going to come here. So and we can see that we can name this discount price or discounted price as you want it. Discounted price. Okay, all these are pretty easy, right? So we can actually do it under transform as well, but you know what happens? It's going to retain that same, instead of going to a new column, it's going to retain in that place. So, all right. So this question 3 now, we are asked to use statistics tools. We did statistics, so please just make sure you do all of this again, please. I beg you. I would not be doing everything, but just these are very easy things to do.
Sorry, I'm sorry to ask. I just want to ask a quick question. All these ones for statistics tools, by the time we do them, it's like transforming. So does it mean when we submit the assignments, we have to like put footnotes?
Yeah, in the assignment, I expected, these will give you aggregate values. So I expected that you just write it out that, okay, average product cost is this. Okay. Number of that is that. I think, was it stated? I thought I wrote
we'll just list it out on the
you just write it somewhere. Yeah, you can just write it in the content of the mail that you are going to send. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that answers that. So number 4, we had to add new calculated column for the birth year, we should name it birth date. So all these things are easy, right? Then we have to add conditional column, which was like the major thing we did last week. So add the conditional column that if they were given birth to within so dates, then say that they are very old or they are old and all of that. We can do this, right?
Yeah.
We can. Yeah, we can. Yeah. So we don't need to. Please just make sure you do the assignment, please.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so let me just close this. Now we'll go to what we have for today. So any questions so far? I guess no, right?
No, we're fine. I'm fine.
All right, so what we'll be covering today is pretty interesting, and I must say, maybe you can call it boring. I don't know, whatever English you want to use for it. It's boring because it's somehow I don't even expect you to understand at first immediately. If you understand, kudos to you. If you don't feel sad about it. It's normal. It's a very I mean, it's a bit wrong, but it's very important. It's because down the line, this is something you are going to be doing over and over again. I mean, it's going to help you understand. Normally, I should take, when people take PowerBI or data analytics courses, let me put it that way, they try to go to interesting things that you find interesting. Like imagine we start now going to plotting charts and all of that. So, but it's important to understand how your charts are behaving, right? To know why you are getting these when you actually selected this. So this is where this comes in. So that's why we need to take it first, so that by the time we are making reference to them later on, you would find it very, very familiar, because you already know what's happening and why those things are happening. You understand? So of course, after this, we'll go to visualization, where we are going to be doing a lot of practical stuff. So I don't expect us to do so many practical things today. Hopefully time permits us to finish this, but please just ask your questions. We're going to interact. We're going to try our best to make sure you understand this. Okay, so we want to look at data modeling. Of course, when it comes to data analytics, we know that one thing that comes first is getting your data, which is very important. After that, you kind of clean your data, right? You clean your data. And but in the process of getting your data, this comes in. This can come before or after, or even in between. So this is a very important scheme. So it can come in between, it can come before, it can come anyhow. So what data modeling basically does is just a way of creating a connection between your data. That's it. So just a way of creating a connection within your data, because data comes from different sources, right? It comes from different sources. So it's important to understand how we can bring these. Please mute yourself, please. Please mute your mic. Please mute your mic. Please mute. Thank you. So it's important to know how your data are relating with each other, how they are related. So let's if we go to this, let me quickly bring back our Power BI. So if you go to this Power BI, of course, you know that this is your modeling view. I'm sure you all remember, right? This is the model view. Do you remember? We did it in our first class, right?
Yeah.
So this is the model view. So this is where we perform our data modeling. So now you can see different tables here. These are different tables, different tables and all of that. So this is basically where you do the data modeling, like I said. So is this a data model? This is what you are seeing. You can see that it's similar to what I showed you now on Power BI. Is this a data model? No, it is not a data model. This is a data model.
Can we ask why?
Yeah, this is a data model. And the reason why you can see the difference between both of them is that there is no relationship between these guys. These guys are not communicating. They are independent, right? This is product lookup table. This is sales data table. This is returns data. They are not communicating. There's no communication between them. So, but the moment we have a connection, as you can see, this becomes a data model, right? And takes us to the definition we add. Says it shows a representation of visual representation. You can see it of the data elements and the connection between them, right? Okay, so that's that. So it's important to have data that connect to one another. This is because we collect data from different sources. Do you understand? For instance, I want to analyze data to see the social behavior or the behavioral attributes of social media users. Of course, we have different type of social media. So I'll definitely get the data of Facebook from Facebook. I'll get the data of Twitter from Twitter. I'll get the data of Instagram from Instagram, right? So these are different data sources. So how do you expect me to go and analyze the data for Facebook, come back, analyze the data for Twitter, come back? Then that's not efficient, and we might not even get the insight we are supposed to get, because at some point we are supposed to compare the social media platforms and see how they respond to population and all of that. So it's important to bring them together, and that way is what we know as what data model. So in that case, we can have like Facebook data to be here, Twitter data will be here, this and that will be here. Then we'll connect them together with keys and all of that, which we are going to talk about during the course of this. So data normalization, this is very important. This is just a Google definition. So it says it's the process of structuring a database, usually relational blah, 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 in order to reduce data redundancy and improve data integrity. Anyway, don't mind the grammar. What it's just saying basically is data normalization is quite important because it's a way of reducing our data structure. I mean, in the sense that, you know, the more data you have, the more space, for instance, that your system has to use to process it. So there's a way you can kind of like reduce. It's still going to be the same data, right? But it is well structured. It is well minimized, you know, rather than having it all scattered, you know. So like this now, if you see, this is not well normalized because you can see that product brand, product name, they are repeating repeatedly. You can see. You might probably understand now, but let me just show you so you can see. So if we check this now, we have Washington strawberry drink, Washington. So this is like repetition. This is like redundant, data redundant, or the data being redundant. You get. So in the end, it's a disorganized way of managing your data. You can actually create a separate table for just products alone that will contain the name of product, so that whenever your data system or your data model, whenever it sees product ID 869, it automatically knows that you are talking about this product. They will not be together, right? They will not be together. I mean, these guys that I put here, they will not be here. You will have this separate. Then you have this somewhere separate, you know, in a well-organized manner. So whenever they see 869, they automatically know that you are talking about this because you've already related them together. So rather than having something like this is taking more space, both on your tables and even for processing your the data. It's going to take more time to run calculations and all of that. So that's where database normalization comes in. So when you don't normalize table, you end up with duplicates. You can see we're having duplicate stuffs here. So a very well normalized database will always contain unique entries, right? So you're going to understand better as we move on. So don't worry, just let's go together. It's just important to do all of this, trust me. Now we have two types of tables. When you talk about tables, I'm sure you've been hearing tables. It's not the first time. Tables is just like a data set, right? So you know that by now. So when you talk about tables, we have two types of tables. We have data tables and lookup tables. I beg your pardon. Okay, we have data tables and lookup tables. So what are the data tables? What are lookup tables? These guys are very, very confusing, but I will just try to do my best to explain it. I'm sure moving forward, it will get clearer to you. So consider an example. For instance, let me see what example I can use. Okay, I come now and I said, how are you? I just want to use that as an example. And I said, how are you? Let's assume, so you don't even know anything. You are blank, you don't know anything. And I just came and I said, how are you? You went to the other side. Brother Femi told you, how are you? You went to another place. They are telling you, you are hearing, how are you in different places. And you're like, what is the meaning of how are you? Right? And you now go to a place, maybe Google or I don't know, just go to a place that you can get that information and you went to check. What is this how are you that people are even talking about? And you saw that, oh, how are you means is a greeting. Now, let me take it back. Let me bring another example. I'm using a word. I use the word now, for instance, cat. Another person used the word cat. Another person used the word cat. And you're like, you're hearing cat. What is this cat they're talking about? And you probably went to an animal book, or I'm just creating an instance, whether it makes sense or not, don't worry. So you went to an animal book and you checked it and you found out that, oh, cat means this. Now, what has happened? You were hearing that information from different people. So you had different entries of that information. That is a data table. So you now went to a book, a source that you know that you will get that information about that word, or a dictionary, for instance, where you can get the meaning of that word. That is a lookup table. Do you get it now? So basically, a lookup table contains a data table contains different entries, right? That particular thing you are looking for can contain different entries. When I say different entries, if you look at these pictures that we have here now, if you look at this table, you can see that in this date now, we have 1st of January 1997, we have it appearing multiple times. You can see it, right? You can see it.
Mhm.
But in this lookup table, this is a calendar lookup table. You can see that we have just this 1st of January 1997 appearing once. 2nd of January once, like that. So a lookup table usually contains unique attributes of each dimension or each entry. That's why it's lookup. You know, when you get to a dictionary, you cannot find the meaning of cat. I mean, you cannot find 2 cats now, right? If you go to a dictionary now, you cannot find a word 2 times. Of course, it can have different meaning, but you cannot find cat. They can't say cat 1 or now cat 2. Or you go to a dictionary and you want to find the meaning of it, and you now see it 1, it 2. No, it will be it. It is it. It has no other. That is the identity. So that is the lookup. That's where you are looking up for it, right? So that's a way of making you remember that a lookup table usually contains unique attributes of a dimension, right, or of an entry, while a data table usually contains a lot of multiple attributes of that table. Do you get it now? Do we understand?
Sorry, I don't ask. The lookup table, is it like a reference table or something?
Yeah, it's like exactly like a reference table.
Okay.
So it contains just unique identity.
Okay.
Right? It's just unique values. While the data tables contains number of times that I don't want to start using the words I'm going to be using later.
Sorry,
So
please,
that's
I
why
have
I'm
a
just
question.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, you said a lookup table consists of a unique identity.
Yes.
So in the table, are we referring only to the leftmost column? Like in the lookup table, are we referring, when we are talking about the unique identity, are we referring to the leftmost column?
Yes, in this case, leftmost column. In fact, in most cases, I don't want to use key. Okay, let me mention key. I'll just say key. I will not say the 2 types of key we have. So the key is usually at the leftmost column. It makes it easy for readability and all of that. Okay, you can be anywhere, but just for making it easy. But in this case, as far as this picture is concerned, you can see that in days now we can have. I'm sure when we get to maybe another month, we can have maybe another one, maybe, I don't know. But if you get to months now, you can see that we already have duplicate values. You can see that year, we already have duplicate values. Like that. So as far as this calendar table is concerned, this is our key, because here we can see that we have unique values. Don't worry, when we do keys, then you understand what this means. But this is what a calendar, this is a lookup table. It contains the unique identity of this entry, not all of this particular column. You understand? If you check this one now, this is a product lookup table. So it contains unique identity of products. So this is product 1, this is product 2, this is product 3, this is product 4, and so on and so forth. You cannot have product 1 appear 2 times in a lookup table. You understand? But in a data table, you can have, if you look at it now, we have, okay, we don't have duplicate. Of course, this is truncated. I mean, it was truncated, so the data is a bit long. If you check your product table, you will have it there. So if you check it now, you will see that you have duplicate values here. While this one, you can see that it's also duplicate, right? So is it clear?
Yes.
Do we understand it? All right. So let's move on. So now that takes us to primary and foreign keys. So of course, the identity here that makes us know whether something is a lookup table or whether it is a data table is the key. So we now have 2 types of key. Is that key that will help us? Usually, is the key that will help you know that whether this one is a lookup and a data table easily. So if you look at this key, the primary key is usually in the data table. Do you get it now? The primary key is usually in the what? In the data table, while the foreign key is usually in the lookup table. Okay, so let's kind of like play around it and see. Now, I how do I do this? How do I make this explanation? Or should I just leave it for you to just go and just hold on to it like that? There are different ways you can understand this when you begin to work with it. Okay, so but just know that your primary key is usually in your data table, while your foreign key is usually in oh, I missed it up. Sorry, I missed it up. Your primary key is usually in your lookup. Your primary key is usually in your lookup table. Now, let me explain. Let me give you a scenario of why it is like that. Now, this don't forget, it contains the details. If you check the dictionary now, for instance, of it, let me use that it again. If you check the dictionary for it now, that dictionary will give you all of the details of it. It will tell you about it. Okay, whether it is a verb, whether it is a noun, and all of that inside of that place. So that's where you can get the information. That's the primary information. That's the primary key. And in that, as far as the dictionary is concerned, that your lookup table is concerned, it is primary. But when you begin to use that word I use it, Brother Femi use it, Brother Odeji use it, Brother this use it, it becomes what? Foreign. Do you get it now? Is that explanation? That's my own way of explaining it, or my own way of making myself understand it. Like I said, these are very tricky stuff. So it's my own way of making myself understand. After this, you can go ahead and look for a way to make yourself understand, or try to just find out. I believe by the time you're working with all of this data model, it will become clearer. Do we understand? Somehow, right? Okay, let me yeah, you know, I said it from beginning. I gave you kind of like, I set the expectation. I knew, because learning it myself, I knew the time it took me, trust me. So, but it's good that you are going through this. So the primary key is usually like it's usually in the lookup table. When you say something is primary, it is the main key, it is the main identity, right? And don't forget, you can only find the identity in the lookup table, because lookup table has unique, distinct entry. You cannot find two of these 1st of January 1997. You cannot find two of it in a lookup table. So that means it has an identity. It's that, in that case, it is the primary key, right? So when you now begin to use it outside in another table, which is known as the data table, it becomes the foreign key.
Okay.
Do you get it now? So you can see here now that they are foreign key. In this column now, these are foreign keys, because you can see we have multiple of them. Okay, but in our lookup table, they are what? They are the primary key. They are the main key. You understand? So this is very simple. In your lookup, it is primary key. In your data table, it is what? Foreign key.
Yeah.
That's really. So if you have any question, let me know. Can I go on?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, we are still on. Okay, we are still on tables. So we have relationship and merging table. So when it comes to merging table, of course, we did merging of tables. If who can remind me what is merging table or merging queries, if that's the language you understand, as Power BI enthusiast or Power BI analyst or expert. Okay, what is merging queries? Who can remind us? Or better still, let me say, what is the difference between merging and appending?
Merging is additional columns, and appending is additional rows.
All right. Yeah, you got that. You're not even confident. I wish I had played with you a bit. Yeah. I wish I had just like twisted it. And another person would tell me the opposite, then we begin to fight. Okay, so that's right. So merging is, of course, adding columns. You're adding more columns to the data, to the table, while appending is adding more. So adding more rows. So if you look at this table, this is quite similar to what we have before. You can see now that this is the original table, right? You can see now we have the calendar lookup. You know what lookup is, right? It contains unique identity. Now, this is lookup now, which is of course the day of the month. You cannot have, although they changed. If you remember when we checked this lookup now, we had this date there. So they are already joined together now, So what they did here was merging. They merge now. They merge this table, and this table together. So, you might be looking at why do we need to be doing data modeling and be creating relationships? Why can't we just merge or use lookup or use related functions? Well, you can do this. You can, you can merge and all of that, but it's not efficient. Right? It's not, because it creates redundant data. If you remember when I talked about redundancy, at the earlier part of our presentation, talking about having it, a number of times. So this again is what you are doing here. Instead of having, you can see you have first of this and that. You now have nationally food together. You have this type of food together. This is called redundancy of data. Rather than having it like this, you can have it in a more structured way. But of course, you can do this, but it's not efficient. It's going to take more space. When you apply calculations, it's going to take more time and all of that. And that's why creating relationships in data model is important. Of course, there might be some time you might need to merge if it is necessary, but most of the time, rather than merging your tables together, bringing them together, it's better you have them separated. Another thing is when you make any modifications to a table, it's very easy for you to be adopted to the whole thing, when you just refresh, rather than having it like this. By putting it like this, you have kind of like transformed it and, change the identity. Well, it's a clear thing, so don't worry. Don't get bored by it. So let me move on. So let's look at creating table relationships. So how do we now create table relationships? We've been talking about relationships. We looked at about all of these things. So how do we now create them? Well, in PowerBI, it's very easy. You just drag and drop. So you just drag the primary key and you connect it with the foreign key, So then you can also edit and modify it. So let's have a walkthrough of this. Let's go to PowerBI. First thing we are doing something very practical. Okay, so now we have this is our data table, right? So we can always bring all of these things together to have them in one place. If you have your Power BI, you can run it. Please run your Power BI. Please run your Power BI and load. By now, you should have loaded all of your products, all of your data. Sorry, you can just reduce this like this, just to bring them together. Can bring them together. Let me just bring them together. Okay. So let me take this away. So we have, these are our data. So I think, how many of us have loaded it? Let me be sure that we are all on the same page. How many of us have loaded all our data inside of Power BI? Nobody. Or how many of us have Power BI open right now? Nobody.
I do.
I have it open, but I don't have
you don't have this data.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Femi, I think the link, he just posted the link some. Hold on a second. Let me try to find the link. Okay. Let me just download the zip file and forward it to you. Okay. I think you can check the WhatsApp. You can check your WhatsApp. I forwarded it to you. So just try to download it, extract it, then load all of the data. So now we have, I'll be working with this for now, although we have more than that. So, but let me just work with with this. I think I need to bring in some more just to make the explanation clear. I need to bring in a returns table. Do I need to do anything? Let me just load it like that. Let me bring customers as well. I think we already worked on customers. You remember the last time we did our transformation and all of that. But let me just load it like that for the purpose of this class. And let me load calendar as well. Good. So let me load calendar. All right. So we have all of these together now. So if you're on your Power BI, you can come to the modeling page, of course, after loading all your data, all your tables. So we have this. So how do we create a relationship? It's very easy. First, I need you to, the reason why I was asking you to rename all of these things, because if you remember, I specifically told you to rename this to product categories lookup, to rename this to product subcategory lookup, products lookup. This one too should be product lookup. Let me quickly edit it so that we can understand what is happening and we won't make mistake. So product lookup. Now you know what lookup means, right? Right? Are you there? Are you there?
Yes. Yes.
So now, let me just open this. This is calendar lookup, I'm sure. So if you look at this calendar now, you see that you cannot have repeated day. So every value here is unique. Every value here is unique. So it's a calendar lookup table. Calendar lookup. So you should make sure you make this change as well when you load your data. Then we have subcategory lookup already. We have categories lookup. Sales is not lookup. Who can tell me why sales is not lookup? Let's check for ourselves. So if you check sales, there will be multiple entries, right? You can see on a certain date, of course, different people will buy that product on different dates, right? So we have different product keys. You can see you have 312 here, you have 312 here, so it is not. So that's why we just leave it as sales. Can just leave it as sales. Please let me come my attention if you don't understand. Please just come my attention. I will try to explain as much as I can. Then we have returns as well. This is returns table. Returns table is also not what's it called? It's also not a lookup table. The reason we can see that we have product key appearing multiple times. This is 312 appearing multiple times, right? So returns key. Don't forget that what determines your lookup or your data table is the fact that is from your key. If you remember, it's from your key. Is whatever you consider as your key is what we ascertain whether this thing is product or it is what it is lookup. Do you understand? Whatever you consider as your key is what will determine whether this product, just like the question Mr. asked earlier when we were looking at this, I were able to ascertain that this is lookup. If you check, it's not like other values are unique, right? It's not like other values are unique. This is appearing multiple times. This is appearing multiple times. But as far as this date that we are considering as our key is concerned, it is what? It is a lookup table. Do you understand? So it is the key. It is the key that controls, that tells you whether it is lookup table or not.
Okay, so for a person, it depends on what you decide to be your key.
Exactly.
Okay.
What you it's not like you're going to decide what you identify. It's what, because when you are dealing with this.
Yeah, but it could vary. So
it could vary. Yeah. That's
okay.
It's not like maybe it has to be the last thing on the leftmost column. So it depends on what connects all of course, this is part of your work as an analyst. The moment you are given a data, they will give you the data. They won't tell you. If they are nice, they will probably tell you, depending on whoever extracted and transformed the data, they might tell you. But it's up to you to look at it and see what could be the connecting point, what could join all of these things together. And that takes me to letting you know that when it comes to data modeling, there is no peak. You understand? It's not like there's a structured way that, okay, this is the best way. You understand? So I could pick up this data and decide that I don't want to connect product ID. I want to use something else. So what matters in the end is if you are able to derive sensible and reasonable insights from whatever you are going to do. And remember, that's what being an analyst is. It's not about your skill in analyzing the data and all of that. Anybody can do all of those things. But the defining factor is what you're able to drive out of data. What insight are you able to bring out? What are you seeing in the data that others are not seeing? And that's like the defining factor here. So thank you for that question. Okay, so this is our, so in this model now, we have all of these are lookup except these two. Only sales and returns are not lookup. Others are what? Others are lookup. Because if we check it now, what we are using our product ID in some cases and all of that. Don't worry, when we go deep further into it, but I just want to show you how to create relationship. That's all I want to do here. So how do you create relationship? So in this case now, if you look at this, let me bring this product. Let me use customer, for instance. So for instance, I want to know the customers that have made sales. You understand? Now, okay, let me make it a bit clearer. Let me open this customer query. Now, if you look at this customer query, I just have all of the details of the customer, right? I have their name, their birth date, their marital status, their gender, all of these things, I know it. But if I want to now analyze the customer that is buying, or maybe the customer that is buying most, I want to know the customer that buy most, or what each customers are buying. How do I find out that? So I have to create a relationship between this customer table and sales table. Is it making sense now?
Yes. Yes.
This is just a customer table. It's don't forget what we are doing. What we want to do in these adventures. Maybe I should have even mentioned that. What we want to do, because we'll be visualizing and everything. It's a real data. It's not like maybe it's fake and all of that. So what we want to do is we want to analyze sales. We want to see how how the sales has been like and all of that. So now this is a customer table. We just contain only the details of the customer. So we don't even know what Mr. John Yang is buying, or we don't know how much he bought, and all of those other details that you might need to know as an analyst, and to improve the business result. So let me make it lookup, customer lookup. So now we need to create a relationship between this table, customer lookup table, and sales table, so that we can now know what Mr. Yang is buying and how much he bought and all of those other information. So very simple. So what will be the connection here? The connection here is simply what? Look at it. What do we have here that we have here?
Customer key.
Customer key. So that means our customer key here is if you check here, God, I don't like that I have to, but it's fine. So if you check here, our customer key can never be duplicate. It will always be different. Because as the customer are coming, they are registering their name. And it is that you are giving, it's just like an ID card. You understand? It's just like an ID card. It's like an identity. You remember what lookup table is, right? It contains unique identity. So customer key here is unique. So whenever I see 11011, that means I am definitely referring to Curtis Lou. You can never find this number assigned to another person. If we use their first name as our key, we might have a problem, because trust me, someone will be bearing Elizabeth as first name, another person will be bearing Elizabeth as first name. Right? If we use their last name, someone will be bearing Torres, another person will be bearing Torres for sure. If you use their birth date, of course, you know that a lot of people share birth date as you. If you use marital, you cannot use marital status. We just have single or married. Or I don't know if there's another one before that one. If we use gender, the one that I know is just 2, male or female. If you use email address, you can still have it. Well, you can use email address because, of course, most likely it's going to be unique value, but it's not going to make sense, because as far as sales is concerned, they might not record their email address when making sales. All of those things you have to consider. If you use their annual income, I don't think this makes sense enough, because we have people, look at this one at 80,000, you can find another, or 40,000. So you will need a unique identity. So sometimes naturally it does not come. It's important for whoever is collecting that data, and this is what you do when you are creating a database. This is more of SQL and all of that. You make sure that there's a unique identity for every entry that is coming in, right? So the only thing here is what? It's the unique key. When we see 11,000, we know we are referring to what? John Young. Do you get it now? So let me close this query editor. Now, if you open this sales now, I want to open this sales. The same thing, you are going to find that customer key here. It's not in the first row, it is here. So this customer key is going to now be related to what we have there. So that when the model sees customer, you are calling customer John Lu, now you are calling 11100, something like that, it knows that you are referring to what? This. So if you need to know what customer Lu is buying, from that table, you can find out after you create a relationship between these two tables. Do you get the idea of relationship now? You know, we could have probably matched these tables together, right? And matched by the key and all of that, but it's not efficient, like I said. So how do we create that relationship? Just drag and drop, very easy. So just pick this customer, just hold it down and what, bring it down here. And you can see that if I bring it here now, it's giving me like cross, like I cannot do anything. I cannot do anything. I cannot do anything. Then if I come here, what? I create the relationship and you can see the line. That is telling me now that if I over it, it's telling me the two things that we are connecting together. So it's telling me now that these two are what? Are connected. That's very simple how you what? Connect, how you create relationships. So I've created a relationship between this data table and this data table. Is that clear? Do we understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why is only one person responding? Do we understand?
Yes, we do. Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay, so try it and let's see what you have. Try to create that relationship. Try it and let's see what we have. Try it and let's see what we have. Have you done it? Mr. Have you gotten the data? Have you gotten the data?
It was sent in the WhatsApp before now. I think I sent it about 3 times.
Yeah, I think I sent it to someone now. I don't know if
Yes,
it's still on
I've gotten it. I've gotten
okay,
it.
are you following along?
I'm trying to unzip. I didn't have an app to unzip, so I'm just downloading.
Okay, download. Yeah, you can download 7-zip or something. Can I continue now? Guys, can I continue? Hello?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Okay, have you tried to create this? Have you done this?
I'm just downloading mine, so
I'm trying to load my sales.
Your sales, okay. Okay, so let me just, you would get it, of course. So let us, while we do that, let's just look at what we can connect again. Now, this is another lookup table, right? So we have date here. Then we also have what? Other date here, right? We can connect them together, right? So the same thing, just hold it, you connect it to other date, right? Now, if you look at it, we have another date here, which is stock date. So it now depends on what, if I bring it here now, it will not do. It will create something we call active relationship. We are still going there. I would explain better what happened, why we have active relationship, okay? So, but I'm just showing you that, of course, it depends on what you want to connect. If you feel getting more information as regards the other dates will make more sense than the stock date, you pick it. If you feel it is the stock date, then you pick it. You understand? So this is your ability to think like an analyst. That's what defines what you are able to connect in tables. Of course, you always see different things that you feel, oh, this one should be connected. But in the end, if you connect this thing, will it give you your objective? Don't forget, before you even start anything analytics, there must be an objective. There must be an end user. Who are you analyzing for? Who are you reporting to? What do they want to hear? What information do they need? If, for instance, now they need information as to what dates people are placing an order most. I'm just creating an instance. they need information on what date people are placing order most. So which of these dates do you think will best will be used for that kind of analysis? Do you understand the question?
Yeah. So
Which
because
of
like in this sales, we have multiple dates, right?
we have 2 dates, yeah. And I'm
So
trying to connect my date to the 2 dates.
Yeah, that's my question. Which date do we know is going to work?
Yeah, which
what we want?
If your boss now or your manager says they want to know what dates people are placing order most, so that they can probably know the kind of maybe advertisements to run on other days and all of that. So which dates do you think you need to create a relationship with here out of these 2 dates?
The other dates then.
The other date, right? So that's what I'm explaining. Like, it depends on what you need, what your end user wants, what your objectives are. That's what defines how you are able to go around this model. So it's not like there's a one-way thing that, oh, just come when you see date, you pick date. No, it has to be what you want. All of these things have to come hand in hand. You get? Okay. So now let's go to another one. This is we have our product. This is a data table. I'm sure you know that returns is also another data table, because if you check it, I showed you earlier, right? The number of products they are returning. They can return a particular product many times. So that means it automatically contains duplicate of that product. So it's definitely not your it's definitely not a lookup table. It is a data table. So I will still come to connecting 2 data tables together, but for now, let me just still leave it out. So I want to connect this product lookup and my sales together. So maybe I want to analyze, I want to kind of see how the products are selling, right? Which products are selling most and all of those things. So what do you think I can connect here? Let me try to elongate this so you can see everything all at once. So what do you think I can connect between this product lookup and sales?
Product key.
Product key. So if you check our product key here, yes, we have product key here. We can join it together. You see that? That's right. So I think we have another data. Let me try to bring in territories. Yeah, we have territories data. Let me just try to load it up. So let me just load it like that. Oh, I should have transformed. Sorry, to rename it. So let me bring it closer to this place. And let me quickly edit the query. Please, if you don't understand at any point, let me know. Okay. And don't feel discouraged if you are not. I believe it's even better. Like, I know it's a bit better. So, but if you don't understand anything, please just call our attention. So this is territory. So let's assume now I want to know, okay, how the sales is doing in this territory. Maybe people in Abulegba. Sorry, there's no Abulegba in this data. I'm just questioning this. I'm from Abulegba, so don't mind me. So maybe I want to know how people are buying in Abulegba compared to how they are buying in Nushe. How people are buying. Okay, I think this is an international firm, so let me use international distance. So I want to know how people are buying in London as compared to how they are buying in New York and all of that. So you want to create a relationship between sales and territory, right? So how do you do that? What would be the key? Who can tell me? Look at it. What would be the connecting? What do we use to connect? I know what is confusing us.
Sales and territory.
Yeah, it's still the same thing. It's just like, I said all of these things. You need to look at it and see if it is actually what you need. Now, if you look at this sales territory key, now it is 1 to 10, and there's no unique, right? If you come to this, let me open this sales data now. Let me open this query and try to, this is my territory key, right? And let me try to navigate down. Look at all the entries I have. I have just 1 to 10. You can see. So it is it. It is your key. Do you get it now? So these are things you need to. It's not like it might be another person that created this table. You understand? It might, and they are bringing everything for you to analyze.
So sometimes, sometimes the headers might be different from the the header and the other, okay, other table.
The other name is, the column name is not, when it comes to modeling, the column name is not a problem for the system to understand, but it is you that probably, in this case now, the first thing I need to do here is change my column header so that I don't get confused over the line. You understand? So for readability, and even if you want to transfer this system to another person, it will be very easy for the person to understand that what they are talking about here is actually what is here. So you won't have the kind of confusion that you had now. You can imagine the number of seconds that you wasted thinking. You have probably done another thing. You get. So it's still the same thing. So just connect them together and you have it connected. You can see once I click on it, it's telling me these two are connected. Do we get it now? So we are still just working on our sales table. The same thing for return. If I click on my return, my product key, if I want to know the number of products they are returning most, maybe you want to try and analyze why they are returning a particular product. This is my product key. Connect it to this, right? And you want to kind of know the date. You can connect this date to your return date, right? You can connect. You want to know which area they are returning things. Maybe you are buying, a lot of people from Ikorodu are returning things a lot. Are they spoiling the thing quickly? You want to just get insight from that. You can connect these returns, the territory key in the returns, you can connect it with what? The territory key in general territory. So you know that when you talk about territory 1 in this key, you know that you are talking about maybe New York, depending on what it corresponds with in country and in continent. Do you get all of these things now? So this is basic data modeling, just creating a relationship between all of this data. I repeat it again. All of this model we can have all of these things in a single data, in a single table, but it is not efficient. It is never efficient, trust me. Because when you have to do a whole lot of things, and imagine you have to probably come and start, it's not efficient. Let's just leave it there. So it's the best way to have your data normalized. That's why we talked about database normalization earlier. Okay, so before I connect these three, I would come back later. So I just want us to move further. So at this point, I think we need to take a break. So let's just have like 10 minutes break to just cool our head, and then we'll come back we'll come back by 17:31 West African time.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for paying attention. See you soon. And sorry, the class was not recorded. Okay, so customer key, you can always change what you want to be the distance. So because the recording just started, so let me just quickly show again. So you can edit your relationships by coming here. You can double click, you can see it, your relationship, or you come to manage relationships, and you are going to have all of the relationship you have. If it's this one, you can edit it, and it will take you to the similar box that you had earlier, where you can choose what you want to be your this thing, and you can apply or make it active and all of that. So that's that about creating relationships. So now let's look at so let's come back to our PowerPoint. So we've seen creating relationships. That's pretty easy to do. Now let's look at creating Snowflake and star schemas. This is kind of interesting. So snowflakes are don't be wary of how it sounds. So snowflakes, how do you create snowflakes relationship? So snowflakes is it's like a chain. It's like a model with chain of dimension. What do I mean? It usually is mostly used for categorical data. When you have not categorical data, data or table that contains categories. For instance, this product table and product subcategory, you can see that we have product lookup and we have product subcategories, and we have product categories. So you know that inside, for instance, if I open this now, you can now see that we have category name. What is the category name? Bikes, components, clothing, accessories. That's our category name. Now, if I open this subcategory now, you see that it is okay, it's open there. So if I open this our subcategory now, you can see that inside of it we have product key. It's telling us that the product category key is 1. Now, don't forget, if you check this category key, what is 1? 1 is for what? Bikes, right? So now if you check under this subcategory now, anything that has 1, you see that it is related to bikes. You can see under our product category, anything 1, mountain bike, road bike. Bikes. You understand? So it's just like a division, you know, like a category, like it's like a chain. You understand? It's like a chain. So if you check this 2 now, for instance, these are the types that fall under category 2. And what is category 2? Category 2 is components. If you check number 3 now, is clothing. Anything that is on 3 would be that it's related to clothes. You can see it now, caps, gloves, and all of that. So these are categorical data. Do you understand? So the way of connecting, I don't want to say categorical data because it's sounding a bit different. So the way of connecting categories, you know, creating relationship between categories is known as Snowflake. Do you understand? It's known as Snowflake. So instead of having, when we go to types of relationship, you now understand better. So if I want to connect all of these things together now, from my product lookup, if I want to connect to subcategory, of course, none of these things can connect to all the things that are here. Do you understand? Do you see the difference now? So the connection is only between them. They only know themselves. Do you understand? You cannot pick category name now and come here. There's nothing like category in all of these things. So the category name is only understood by what we have here, or as the case may be. Do you understand? So if you check now, you can connect your subcategory key from your product lookup. You connect it to your subcategory key, which is this one, and you can connect your category key to your product category key here. Do you understand it now? So that way you have created a relationship between just 3 of them. Only 3 of them are able to interact together. So this is known as what? Snowflake. Do you understand? So it's more like, you can call it chain. It's like a chain, right? A chain of dimension joining together. So, and the other one is star schema. They call them schemas. So star is the opposite, which is all these things that we have been doing. It's like a star. How do you know? It is more of like a one-to-many relationship. We are still going to go there anyway. So, but that's what it is. Because if you look at the star, for instance, you know how a star looks like now. In the middle, something, you have different things, right? You have different things. Let me try and see if I can open my Google here. So let me see if I can open Google. Let me just type star. So if you check star now, you can see that, you know, there's something at the center here that is connecting with others. So you can see that this guy is connecting to a lot of things compared to Snowflake. Snowflake is just like a chain of connection. Do you understand it now? So those are the two types of schemas we have. Okay. So I talked about creating relationship, and I also talked about managing. I showed you, let me just try and walk through again. You can manage your relationship. Let's assume I want to manage this relationship between these 2 guys. I can click on edit and, you know, just try to, okay, I want them to be related by this, for instance. You can see it has changed it. Now it's telling me menu to 1. If I click here, now it's telling me 1-to-1. And that takes us to the types of relationship we have, okay? What we call relationship cardinality. So when you talk about cardinality, you're talking about, when you say something cardinal, you're talking about uniqueness of values, right? So in relationship, you can create 3 types of relationship. Now, what we have created in all of these things is what we call one-to-many. Do you understand? Because, for instance, let me consider only these sales. Only these sales alone is connected to 1, 2, 3, 4. One to many. Very clear, right? Same thing as sales. For the sales relation, for the returns, I mean, the same thing. Only this sales is connected to 1, 2, 3. This kind of relationship is what? One to many. Do you understand? So we also have one to one. One to one is quite possible as well, but it is not, doesn't make sense. So one to one happens when you are connecting two lookup tables together, or because they have unique values, which is exactly what was happening here when I tried to connect this. So if you look at this subcategory now and categories, now if I click on edit, and this is product category. This is what we have before, right? Now, if I now try to connect this category key and this one together, it creates a one to many, because they are basically like you are connecting. It's only one. You only have one entry of this year, one entry of this year. Do you understand? It's creating like you are connecting one thing here to one thing the other. That's the meaning of one to one. Unlike this, that is what one to many. So rather than using one to one, because I said it's not effective, you can merge your tables. So in the case of one to one, rather than doing one to one, you can merge your tables. Let me see if I have I think I have something in my presentation. Okay, so so this is what I'm talking about. So if you look at this, let me make it a bit wider. So if you look at this product ID now, we have product ID here. We have product ID here. Don't forget, it is going to be unique. You have just 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And here you have just 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you now want to do one, you want to relate them together. Just join the table in this case. Because if you join the table, you are still going to have unique table, isn't it? You are still going to have, you won't have Washington cream soda appearing 2 times, like we had it in this one. When we merge the table together, we were having duplicate value. And that's why we did not recommend that you should do this kind of thing, because it creates data redundancy. But if you do it here, it doesn't create data redundancy. So instead of doing one-to-one relationship, just merge this table. Just merge this table and this table together. You understand? So that is one-to-one relationship. You can do it. It's possible to do it, but it is not effective. It is not efficient. Just merge the tables together. Then we have many to many relationship. This is also another one that you can do. But of course, trust me, never try out to do many to many relationship. In fact, sometimes you get error because there will be multiple instances. In this case now, if I want to do many to many of this one now, example is joining two data tables. Because 2 data tables contain duplicate values, you're now trying to join it. So what would be the joining factor here? Let's see what would be the result if we try to do it in our model. So this one now, this is a data table, right? It contains product key of duplicate values. This one also contains product key of duplicate values. If you try to join them together, what did he say? He said this relationship has cardinality many to many. You can see it's popping up an error for us that it should only be used when blah, 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 blah. So it's not a very recommended, sometimes it can work. I don't know, maybe it's going to work, maybe, but it's going to mess up the whole thing. So because you are having different entries of your key, and don't forget, when you are relating 2 data, 2 tables, one should contain unique, right, which is the lookup, while the other can contain duplicate. But in this case now, both of them are containing duplicate, and that's why it is many to many. That's all. Do you understand it now? Do we get it? Do we get it? Do you understand what many to many is?
I'm trying to grasp my head around it, but it's trying to.
It's from the word many to many. You have. Okay, please chip in something, sir.
So I actually dropped a chat there that the visualization of many to many is practically unreadable because you can't even identify relationship. So I want try to use something that is quite practical. So it's like if you have like a group of 100 people, different religion, different sex, and you want to now identify them with 10 things that I want to find the sex, the religion, the age, the whatever, you list 10 things that you want to find. And inside them too, they have like different characteristics. So if you're using all of those characteristics to find all of the people, how would you be able to do it? It's like one person will need to be here and be there at the same time. So it's like you can't really find that relationship. But if you come that out of these 100 people, I want to know who is a Christian. So they are either here or they are there.
Or there, exactly.
But if you use too many criteria to group them, it's like one person needs to be here, he also needs to be in that place, also needs to be in that place. So how does one person stand in 10 places at the same time?
Exactly.
So you're trying to identify one thing, just one single thing. So if you're trying to find like sales, so you don't want, you know that in your sales, there's going to be many sales on the 4th, there's many sales on the 5th, there's many sales on the 6th. So you cannot want to be searching the number of sales by having different dates. So you just want to use one date. So how many sales do we have on the 4th? Even if that sales on the 4th will include 10 of the same materials, maybe 20 of the same materials with the same price. Do you understand? But just one thing you are picking to use to search, which is why we use also the word lookup. So it's that thing that becomes the criteria in, you know, in the association, in the relationship, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we understand now?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Femi, for the clarification. You know, like I said, these things are, trust me, you have to still go on your own, look at the way, best way of understanding all of these things, and, you know, come up with, okay, this is how I understand it, this is how it is, you know. And I recommend you come around here, just play around things, try to see, open this query editor, see the kind of data you have there, try to connect them together, try to see if, why is it working, why is it not working. You know what you understand what I'm talking about. So these are the ways to learn. Trust me, you will only get better if you do so. Okay.
So I have a question.
Please go ahead.
Is it possible to also like map relationships wrongly? So for instance, like if I'm trying to like play around with these tables and I want to map relationships, is it possible that while trying to do that, I map wrongly and the system tells me or prompts me that it's wrong, or does it just map?
Well, let's try that together. So that's a way to learn. For instance, let's say we want to join. Let me remove this one now. Okay, let me say, okay, let me delete this, for instance. You know how I deleted? Just right click on it and you delete. You delete this relationship. Okay, now, so let's assume I want to join. Normally, I'm supposed to join product key and product key here, right? So I now join product key and let's say product size. Now it's prompting it. Again, it's prompting many to many for me, right? It's saying it as you joining things that are different to, you know, like it's not, so the system will prompt it. Of course, if I click OK, it will go. Sometimes you can see it created a relationship. It's there. But I'm sure by the time you want to analyze, you'll definitely be getting a lot of nonsense things that you're not supposed to get, because it's not the right. So it's going to work. It's not like it's not going to work. But in fact, sometimes many to many is recommended. You need many to many sometimes to be candid. Sometimes, but it's not the best way of, because okay, this is when you use many to many, when you want to kind of like know what is going on between sales and returns. Let's say, for instance, I want to know what percentage of the sales are they returning, you know, something like that. I want to kind of find. So when you use many to many, you can kind of like, but the best way of doing it is to use a lookup table as the intermediary. So rather than going from sales to return directly, you can go from sales to customer lookup, and from customer lookup to return, or from sales to date, and from date to return. So you can kind of, that way, this will be like the intermediary between them. So you can know the sales, the date you made the sales, and you know how it relates or how it proportionate to when they are returning the product. You know, those kind of things. So that's like the if you need to make that kind of relationship, to know, to get inside between two tables that contain multiple values, in that case, it is recommended that you use a lookup table as the intermediary. Do you get it now? So rather than creating a many-to-many relationship, do we get it? Don't worry. You will see. Don't be. I understand. I told you from the beginning. So because it's like that, trust me, it's not something that you only get better with it. By the time you start playing around it, you understand what is going on. And this is very important. Trust me. This is very, very important. It's also in Excel for those of us who have foundation in Excel. You have a query editor as well in Excel. You do data modeling in Excel. You do SQL. In your journey of being a data analyst, at some point you need to also learn SQL, any SQL language or any SQL that is out there. And these are the things that work behind the scene. These are what is happening, So just don't get discouraged. You only get better with time. Trust me. I can assure you that. Okay, so we've seen that connecting multiple data tables. I said, rather than using direct relationships, just connect them using shared lookups. So just look for a lookup that they both share and use that to create a relationship between them. Now, it's important to let you know the flow of the connection, what we call filter flow. Now, the reason why I arrange this like this is just for you to see what is happening, or for you to visually understand what is going on here with what I'm about to explain. The way this thing flows is usually from lookup to your data table, right? So when you apply a filter here, it's flowing from year to year. That's not what Power BI is telling you, but I'm just letting you know that that's actually what is happening. So when I'm trying to okay, I think it's high time we probably just visualize some things so that we can see what is going on. So let's assume let me come to we've not gotten here, we'll be going here next week, but I just want to show you. So let's assume I want to add this my matrix, and in my matrix, I want to know the customers by their let's say by their occupation. I want to know customers by their occupation and how it relates to our sales. So I want to see how the occupation are ordering our product, which is of course the order quantity. You see that, right? So you can see that from here, we can know that people that are clerical, that do clerical, I don't know, but I don't know if all these things means alpha or something. I don't know. So, but this occupation, this particular occupation, they've ordered 13,090 of our product. Those who are doing manual profession or manual occupation, they've ordered 9 blah, 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 of our product. So how was this connection created? How was it? Because of course, if you check our sales table, we can't find anything like occupation there. Likewise, if you check our customer table, we can't find anything like sales. If you check our customer, these are all the data that are there. We can't find anything like sales. If you check our sales table, you can't find anything like customer occupation. So how was it able to dictate it? It's because of this modeling that we've already created. So because we have created a connection between this and this, is able to find out that, okay, this certain occupation has created this. Now, if I delete this relationship now, and let's do the same thing again. I deleted it. If I come here, of course, it will still be there. It's kind of static. So until I just uncheck it and bring it back again. So if I bring our occupation now and I click our order quantity, what do you notice? It's bringing this. So it's not being specific. Don't worry. When we go to visualization, I will explain why this is like this. It will not bring error. But do you notice what? He's bringing the same, he's just bringing total. It's kind of like aggregating it. So because there is no relationship between them, he's not able to know how the occupation relates with. Do you get what is going on here now? So he can't find out any information. So he just gave you the aggregate value that, okay, I know that based on occupation, the total order is, I know that the total order is what? 84174. And that's what it just gave you for everything. I don't know if this is clear about the relationship between them. This is how the relationship works. We don't have these two tables together. We don't have, in customer, we don't have sales. In sales, we don't have occupation. but we've been able to bring them together. We saw the result. Now that they are not connected together, we saw the result. Or do you think this is correct? Is this correct? No.
No.
You understand? So until you create that relationship. So our relationship flows is usually from your lookup. You understand? From your lookup to this guy. So that's like by default. It comes from one to many. So when you now filter a table, let me just create that connection again. Let me come from, what do we have here? Customer key, right? Connected based on customer key. So now when I decided to choose occupation, I decided to select occupation, right? So what happened was that it passed the instruction here. It came here, was like, okay, how many people are in this? How many column do I have here? How many people are in this house? Okay, I have this, and that. Okay, occupation, come outside. So he brought out only occupation here, and he came here, and he said, okay, knock, I want to know who let me create another scenario, another example that is coming to my mind right now. In a school, for instance, if there's a stubborn boy in a school, right? There's a stubborn boy. Maybe they reported me, I was stubborn when I was young. So maybe they reported that he went to fight outside, right? So someone now came to report the principal that so boy, he came to fight, right? They saw him fighting with someone and this and that. So what would the principal do? The principal will go to the boys' class first. What make that principal identify that boy? They must have given him the name, right? The name of that boy. If you don't give him the name, the principal will just go to the class and be clueless. But they've already told him that is Rashid that fought somewhere. So he goes to Rashid's class, which is this table. He asks, where is Rashid? This is Rashid. So he goes to another class and be like, okay, who did Rashid beat? He's not asking. He's coming here again. There are other students again in this class, but he wants to know who Rashid beat. And he came and like, who did Rashid beat? Okay, this is who Rashid beat. And they bring them out together. So that's kind of like featuring. So that's what happens here. So the system just comes here. I mean, what we did here now, selecting occupation and other quantity. We just kind of like filtered. So it comes here, it asks here, where is occupation? It picks occupation, and it comes here, it picks the value that corresponds to that occupation. So this is the flow of filter as far as relationship is concerned. It comes from the lookup table down to the to the data table. Do you get it now? So this is how it flows. And that's why it's recommended visually to arrange it like this. You have your lookup somewhere up and your data table somewhere down so that you can understand. And if you even look at the direction of the arrow, you can see that by default, Power BI is telling you that this is the direction, this is the flow. You are coming from the lookup table inside of the data table to look for the aggregate result. Okay? So that's that. Should I continue? I should stop.
Stop.
I should stop, right?
Yeah,
I know it's like a whole lot already. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let me just stop there. Let me just stop there and give you time to play around it. I'll try and get assignments across so that you can try and do some things yourself just to see what's going on. But I recommend you to please go and play with them. As in play, not work, just play. Just see what is happening when you do this, when you do that, when you do this, see what is happening. Look at your calendar lookup, look at the kind of data you have inside of it. Look at, your returns table, look at it, look at how you can join them together, play around it. It's really easy stuff when you get into it. Trust me, it's not, you won't have to go through all of this learning again because you already know it. So what's important is for you to understand this foundation. Now you see the reason why I taught you this before I came to visualization, because you can see that selecting two types of data at the same time, we got two different results, right? So if this happens, by the time you are doing visualization, you probably understand because you're going to encounter it a lot of times, especially that second one I told you. If the relationship is not distinct, you're going to see that kind of error a lot of times. When you start doing measures and calculated columns and all of that, you see it a lot. So understanding data modeling itself. What is happening? Why is this? Why is that? That is why we had to go through all of this boring session. So forgive me if it was too boring for your understanding, but please just try and watch the video again and use other resources online. Try to check out some of these terms that we've talked about just for clarity. And I wish you success with that. Any question before we round up, before we close this session?
Thank you, sir.
Any question? Any question? Like this is the only part that is like this. When we go to visualization, it's interesting. Trust me.
Okay.
You know what we did previously too was interesting. You are seeing what you are doing, but here it's just a lot of things, but others will be interesting. It's just this session, this part of.
So are we going to visualization next week or?
We just have two more things to look at. We just want to look at the type of filter flows. It's very important. We have two-way flow because I talked about this thing coming from year to year. Now, I was expecting someone to ask that. What if is there a way to make it go from year to year? Yes, it's possible. Then you have to alter the flow, which is what we're going to do. Talking about two-way filters, and after that, we'll go to visualization.
So can we have all the the scheme of work what we are going to work on?
Is it for the next class or?
For the next class and the upper, maybe we can just help us with the scheme of work so that we can know what we are going to do ahead of class.
Okay. To be frank with you, this presentation, for instance, I just started preparing it like 2 hours ago or thereabout before we started the class. So I'm really busy myself, but I would try now that I'll just try to.
What we can do is to give like an overview of what it will be. So this is what we're going to learn. Then you can read on it. So like visualization, for example, there's different aspects to visualization: selecting it, customizing it, using already laid out template and all of that. So, but we can have it written that, okay, next week we're going to do this, and this, so that you can read further about it.
Yeah, I would work on that. No problem. So I want to ask, sir, we will be doing DAX. I don't know if we'll be doing DAX, but I think we shouldn't. I mean,
let's get to the visualization part and see. Then we will look at if we can organize like maybe 1 or 2 class in DAX. We'll see. We'll decide at the end. So based on the speed that people are, and at the very end of the class, we're going to have like a really practical session where people take turns to do different things on the screen, so that we can really see where we are. So there's no point going to DAX if people are not familiar with this whole process of data mining and modeling.
Exactly.
So we'll decide at the end to see where people are.
No problem. All right. So I think it's a wrap from my hand. So you can just end the whole thing, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. So first of all, apologies for last week. The video didn't come until Wednesday because my schedule is, I don't know, I cannot describe it, but I can promise that today, just after the meeting, I'm going to put it up and you will get the link to the video today. And I'm also looking for ways to create a Google Drive and add different kind of data for you as well. So maybe like 10 different set of data, so that aside these ones, you can also play around with some other ones, because this whole thing about data analytics, it's not something that you read, close your book, close your laptop and wait for the next class. No, because even people who have been in the industry for 15 years, they will keep learning. You will keep understanding how to do things better, how to do it faster, how to do it with industry standards and all of that. So very, very important. Leverage on LinkedIn Learning, leverage on YouTube videos, keep learning in any way. No material is useless. Just don't abandon it. Don't close your book and say, okay, yeah, next class is Sunday. That won't help at all. So that's one thing I want us to understand. It will keep getting confusing if you want to restrict yourself to the 2 hours that we have on Sundays. So in your leisure time, you are riding in the bus somewhere, listen to something. It doesn't even have to be the calculation element. You can listen to some podcasts about data analytics. It gives you insight. So because all of these things, they have like background elements that just like as a human being now, you must put your food in your mouth. Who says you must put it in the mouth? But when you try to put it in your nose, you know what happens. So this same thing with also data analysis, that they are all background elements that must be respected for you to get where we're going, which is what we're looking at, the one-to-one and one-to-many relationship. So please always try to, read further, learn more before each class, and that would really help the speed of each person. So that's all for me. If we don't have any question, I will save the recording and get it out today. That's a promise.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And the set
Thank
of
you,
data
sir.
too, you should have it by Tuesday morning maximum. So I'm going to send it via email. I'll send the Google Drive link via email. There will be like 10, at least 10 set of data as minimum, so that you also have stuff to play around with in your own leisure time.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you, brother.
So that's all from me. Thank you so much, our faculty. God bless you. You've been awesome. We really appreciate your time and commitment to this. So from me to everyone, have a wonderful evening and have a blessed week ahead.
All right. Thank you so much,
You
sir.
too. Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.